Welcome to the Courtside Talk with Eric podcast. And today I have another special guest in Brayden. He's going to reintroduce himself for the people who don't know him. I'm going to give him the floor.
Yeah, I'm Brayden Creveling. I have my own Twitter. I'm a sports writer. I'm going to college right now, but I got my own blog, Krebs Corner. I got my own Twitter, Krebs Corner, and I had Eric on my podcast that I just started. So we'll see where this thing goes, and I'm glad to be back on your show.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. So today's topic will be about we're both going to share our top 10 all-time NBA list. So starting at number 10, who do you have at your 10 spot?
I got the great Celtic Bill Russell, multiple championships, most in NBA history. I mean, that man has won more than a lot of other franchises have. So to be a pretty big post like that, you would wonder what numbers they'd be putting up in NBA today.
Why do you have it at 10 though? I mean,
I never got to see him play though, so I don't really know. All you do is see the stats and you see the stories. But I got him at 10 because I got his rival Wilt Chamberlain. I got him in my list. I just value offense over defense, and Wilt's put up the crazy numbers, so
so
that's why I had Wilt over Bill.
you have Will over Bill?
Yeah, I got Wilt. I got
Oh,
Wilt. Not
oh
far, but I got
no.
Wilt
Oh
over Bill.
no. You can't have Will over Bill. Bill's arguably one of the greatest winners in athlete history. Man has 11
Yeah, but like
championships
he was playing against the grocery store
in
workers. Like I'm
13 years.
Yeah, I'm just saying he's been like those numbers were crazy. His block numbers, his rebound averages are nuts, and I would want to see a player, even if this NBA is going to more of a shooting three ball. You would think players like Bill Russell today would still be dominant with pinning shots on the backboard, and I would love to see a player like that be a non-scorer and still be a star athlete in this league.
I understand what you're saying about like different errors. You quote unquote say he's playing with
Yeah,
plumbers and stuff. I don't.
yeah.
I personally don't agree with that take. I know a lot of people who agrees with
Uh,
that take,
it's
but
It's an easy bailout. It's just like the whole
yeah,
Jordan played against tougher competition than LeBron. Like it's just a whole
yeah.
bailout. But like but like the numbers that Bill Russell did put up are crazy. But it's just like one of those things where we didn't get to see Bill Russell play, so I can't really give it the eye test. You know what I mean?
And like you said, you value offense over defense.
Yeah, I value offense,
And
but
he was
that's
definitely a defensive player. He wasn't that great of an
yeah.
offensive player. All right, I'm gonna go for my 10th is gonna be the legend himself, Larry Bird. I got him
Wow,
averaged
at 10?
24, 10, and 6. He's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest small forwards, the second greatest small forwards of all time. Personally, he's the second greatest Celtic of all time in my eyes.
Mhm.
His career wasn't that long because of his back injury. In his later years, like the late '80s and the early '90s, was really rough for him. But he was still Larry Legend. He was still out here balling on
Mhm.
the Isaiah-led Detroit Pistons and the Showtime Lakers. But I have him at 10. I have him at 10. Reason why I do have him at 10, his longevity wasn't that long. He didn't have that long of a career for me. Guys like him had longer careers. But yeah, I definitely got Larry at 10.
Wow, I would say Larry Bird, like you just said, I think second best small forward of all time. We'll see if Kevin Durant surpasses that. I could definitely see Kevin Durant being a better small forward all time, but not right now. I won't put just because Kevin Durant hasn't finished yet and he hasn't solidified that. Like LeBron has solidified himself as being a number a number one and on his team win championships, turn franchises around. You know what I mean? We're talking about the Lakers. We're seeing it right now, and I think Kevin Durant could be the second greatest small forward of all time if he learns that he can prove himself as leading a team to a championship and stuff like that. But Larry at 10, I like it. I wonder. So do you? I would say Larry wasn't a defender, and it kind of seems like you have a defensive mind. So is that why you put him at 10?
No,
I would say Larry did some stuff with the ball that like we don't see
yeah, yeah.
often.
I like both sides of the ball. I like players who can play both sides of the ball. I'm a big fan of that. Larry wasn't the greatest defender. He wasn't, didn't have a lot of. I don't even think he had. Did he have one? Oh, he had three-time All Defensive Team. He wasn't the greatest defender, but I really liked this game. Really tried to change the culture of the Celtics. You know, and he had those battles with the Lakers, who really ruled the '80s. And him after him and Magic really got the NBA out of the Coke, era that they were in the 70s, a really dark era for the NBA. But I definitely got my man. I definitely, it's no brainer for me to be at 10.
All right. I mean, yeah, we'll see how the list goes down. Larry's in my 10. He ain't 10, but he's in my top 10. So, well, I mean, it's just interesting seeing a person who we kind of are talking about, and you kind of see like with your friends, you joke around, you talk about your top 10, and like when in my friend group, we value Larry. We think he's a baller and like an
Yeah,
assassin.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like,
I value Larry. I think he's probably one of the best offensive players of all time.
I'll say, who's your greatest Celtic? Bill Russell then? Is
Yeah,
Bill
Bill
Russell your
Russell. Bill
greatest?
Russell.
All right. I
Bill
was say
Russell.
we got that flip. But I would say outside of them two, I don't see the Celtics having a player that can be that number one. Like I think it's either Bill Russell or Larry Bird in everyone's conversation.
Yeah, definitely. So who do you have for your ninth spot?
All right. So for my ninth spot is Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. I'm talking he gets overlooked a lot when we're talking about positionless basketball, and he wasn't the best shooter, but the stats he put up, the numbers, I mean, that man was getting triple doubles regularly with blocks. Like that doesn't happen often, and he had to go up against some tough players. Shaq, a young Shaq that he won a championship off of, thanks to Kenny the Jet helping him out with a great shooting that, and then like just he kind of was in that transition of the Karl Malone like basketballs. He had to play with them against their prime when he was a youngster, and then he's coming up too. And his 30 for 30 doc is amazing.
Yeah, I think that's I have him coming up on this list,
Mhm.
but I don't know if he's not. I
I
don't know if he's not.
respect it though because
The
a lot of people overlook Olajuwon when we're
Yeah,
talking about
he's
top
probably
10.
one of the most underrated players of all time.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Like I said, a lot of people overlook him, and like I got told by some people that like Tim Duncan's better than him, and I just don't see it.
Well, yeah, I definitely see that. I
I,
definitely see that.
I was gonna say, oh my gosh.
Tim Duncan's the greatest power
But
forward
who
of
you
all
got as
time.
your 9?
But my ninth, the big Aristotle himself, Shaquille O'Neal. I got him ninth. A lot of people don't like that I be having him ninth, but like I said in the previous podcast on yours, I said I was a big fan of Shaq. I loved his game. He was very dominant in that 2000s era, the beginning 2000s era with Kobe. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Shaq. But I think players ahead of him are better than him.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I have Shaq for sure. Not in my top, or he's in my top 10, but he's definitely down the list. Like
Yeah,
we're working our way to him. I was gonna say
yeah.
I value Shaq. I think he's a beast. I mean, unstoppable. The definition of unstoppable. His a force in this league. Like when we talk about the what ifs, and I like to talk about what ifs they played in this league. Even if his jump shot was pitiful, like the dominance that he had in the paint versus other people would have been crazy. And he wasn't really the shot blocker in his later days, but still, like the offensive force to just get him ball and having teams collapse on him. He can kick it out for threes. Now that the game is more of a 3-point shooting game, you would think that he might have a lot more assists now in today's league than he would have back then.
Yeah, especially if we put him in this league, especially if you see teams double teaming him, then he drives to the basket.
Mhm.
He could just kick out to the three, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
But I had to have my man Shaq at 9. I'm a big fan, but I had to have him at 9. So we're gonna move on to our eighth spot. Um, I'll go for this one. I have Akeem Olajuwon at the eighth spot. He averaged 22, 11, 3 blocks, and 3 assists in his career. He had a very short peak around when Jordan left the NBA. He clean swept the Orlando Magic to get his first ring. Just a great player. I really think people when I have Shaq when I have Hakeem ahead of Shaq, people probably don't agree with me because they feel like Shaq is better. But I definitely feel like Hakeem's way better than Shaq.
I don't know about way better, but yeah, I think that it's very close. I was gonna say, yeah, just and the fact that you said his peak
Yeah,
wasn't as long as a lot of other people's peaks. He had a hard time battling, getting through the East through Jordan leaving and then coming back and
like you said, it all depends on what the person values more. If they like you said, I value offensive defense. He's more of a defensive player, but he can play both sides of the ball
Yeah, yeah, I get
efficiently.
what you mean. I'll say for my 8, I have Bill Russell's rival, Wilt Chamberlain, scored 100 points in a game. Wilt is just, I mean, the numbers that this man put up is crazy back in the day. I'm gonna say, like, I wish we had a big man rivalry in the league today, like we did with Russell and Chamberlain.
Now, let me just say this. I liked watching the numbers, watching the old archives of him playing, but I do not feel like Wilt is a top 10 player. He's 10 to 15, but no, he's 11 to 15, but I don't think he's a top 15 player.
I just don't know
Definitely.
when you're starting the list of like greatest players ever played. I just don't know how you don't include him. Like, is it? And this doesn't help his or this helps his case is he's an iconic, like the iconic photo holding the 100, like the 100-point game, like and an NBA record that won't ever be touched. I don't think. I think there's one player in this league that could even come close to that, and I think that's Steph Curry. But I mean, it's just when you're talking about greatest basketball players through history that Will Chamberlain isn't included.
He's a great, but he's 11
The
through
season
15. Yeah,
averages,
and
the season,
Bill's definitely
the
better than him. Bill's
averages
definitely
though,
better
like
than him.
just the numbers he put up, and you just
Bill sunned him almost every year when they played if they even got to the
yeah. But
finals.
I'm saying like the how many points he how many rebounds he averaged. You know what I mean?
They're numbers.
The numbers say like okay, like
I
numbers
mean,
talk
the
though.
numbers do have
Yeah,
the numbers do say something.
but
Excuse me, sometimes,
I would say
but you can't value numbers,
too
fully
much.
when you're
I know what you're
yeah.
saying. Like people value numbers too much. Like, but it's still it doesn't hurt his case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt his case. I'm just saying, Bill sunned him.
I would say it's just all who you talk to. Who I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
it's what you value. What you
uh-huh.
value.
I'm gonna say I got my on my number 7. If we're moving on number 7,
Yeah,
I got 33 in green, Larry Bird.
I respect it.
I think he's the best Celtic of all time. Obviously, I got Bill Russell right under him at 10, but Larry was just an offensive firepower to have to go up against Showtime Lakers with Magic Johnson, and then go up against the Detroit Pistons, my 11th greatest player all time, Isaiah Thomas leading that pack. So I was gonna say to get beat up in series like that and climb over the hump and watch the Showtime Lakers and then just battle it out in the NBA Finals would have been something special.
Yeah, I think you can definitely make for a case for him to be higher,
Mm-hmm.
due to how he played. But for him to be higher, to me, I think it was that back injury really killed him in his later years
Yeah,
of his
yeah.
career. So if he kept playing, just efficient, just great, I think he could be definitely higher than he really is on my list. But I definitely respect him being at number 7.
It's just the
Um,
competition. The competition they went up against was
yeah, yeah,
crazy. You know,
definitely,
that's the best. That's the best era of basketball in the NBA has seen up to that point, and
yeah.
debatably ever. When you got those 3 teams, you got the Jordan upcoming.
Yeah, I've always said that was probably the greatest era of basketball. And
Because
he's
it's so
beating
even,
and he and
and he
him
was beating them night in, night out. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
he's
it was
beating
crazy.
Michael Jordan, Bad Boy Pistons, he's beating the Lakers. So yeah, he definitely
Yeah,
had a bunch of competition to face.
I'll
For
say
my
we'll go on with your 7.
yeah, my 7, I'm gonna go with Stone Buddha himself, Mr. Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward of all time. What more could I say? Five I think six no, five championships, Hall of Famer, 15-time All-Star, average 19, 11, and 3. Him and Popovich and the Spurs, they probably had one of the greatest dynasties going out until he retired. He's just greatness.
Yeah, I like Tim Duncan. I got him in my top 15, but not top 10. I think that with the system, you got Tony Parker, who's a great point guard. You got Manu Ginobili, debatably the best 6 man ever. You got the Robert Horry made a couple good shots. I mean, like Tim Duncan had all the chips in his. Tim Duncan had a lot helping. Greg Popovich, greatest coach of all time. So I don't see all of it. Tim Duncan was one of the. I think Tim Duncan is the best power forward of all time, but it's just no. I was gonna say second best power forward of all time.
So you're saying it wasn't Tim Duncan that got him the 5 championships. It was more of
It
the
was the
system
system. I
that he
think
was
I think the
around.
Spurs system, and I'm not trying to discredit Tim Duncan because of it. I just think Tim Duncan doesn't deserve all the credit. I think Tim Duncan is a great power forward, and on the floor was most likely the best player on the floor every game he played. Not every game, but most likely. And you got to think that if Ray Allen didn't make that shot in Game 6 to beat the Spurs, where would we be talking about if Tim Duncan was 6-0 in the finals?
He'd be in my top 5.
Yeah,
He'd
I was
definitely be in
gonna
my
say
top 5.
it's crazy how that one shot. I mean, when you're talking about 6-0 or 6 rings, you're talking about Tim Duncan and Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan isn't the top of that list anymore. You know what I mean?
I'm really surprised you don't have him at least at your top 10. These are guys that I'm really checking off. Okay, he's gonna have him in his list. I'm surprised you're not having these guys in your top 10.
No, I was gonna say like if we're talking like a Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain less list, then yeah, he's in it. Him and Isaiah Thomas of Detroit Pistons are. But when we're talking about all time, and those are guys I didn't watch, but seen stats, see the championships, and then see the tape. Let's see what highlights you got on YouTube and stuff. And I got to see Tim Duncan with my own eyes. I got to watch him growing up play. So it's I think it almost more or less hurts his case that we got to watch him. So, but I think that his numbers speak very well for himself. But he just
Yeah,
had Ginobili and Tony Parker. Like, it's not common that big men have a perfect point guard to have, or a coach of all time, an
but
all-time great coach.
he won that ship without them. The first ship he got, he didn't
No,
have
I'm saying
Gino.
like going through. Yeah, but
Yeah,
you got
yeah.
David Robinson though, who made the
David
All
Robinson
NBA.
was washed.
You got you. He made the All NBA that year. He
He
made third
wasn't
team
he hurt?
some of the year, yeah, but he made All NBA third team that year. I'm pretty sure.
Mm. I don't see. You take Tim Duncan off the Spurs. You take Tim Duncan off the Spurs. He's
Oh,
elite.
but that's a
He's
different
def.
that's a different take.
But
Like,
you're no
yeah.
no no no. But you're saying it was the system around him. If you take him out of the system, he's getting rings still.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You
I don't
take Tim Duncan and you put him at another team with a different system, he's still getting a ring.
without Pop and Tony and
Yes,
Manu.
yes, yes.
I don't know if I can go with you on that,
He's
Eric.
he's very underrated. He's very underrated. People, this is the greatest power forward of all time. You probably have Kevin
Kareem,
Garnett.
Kareem.
Kareem was a center.
You're calling Kareem a center. Okay,
I'm calling
well,
Kareem a
some people.
center.
I would say then if we're calling Kareem a center, then I'm going Tim Duncan's the greatest power
Yeah,
forward of all time.
yeah. I got Kareem as a center. He's 7'1".
Okay. I was gonna say I don't know why I thought. Yeah,
I think
okay,
he's
I got him
7'6".
as the greatest power forward of all time. Yeah, but it's just like I don't know. I can't go with power forwards. I got power forward less list. Like I just don't go with it. I don't know. People blow up Dirk Nowitzki, and I'm not that big on
Yeah,
Dirk.
I wasn't
I'm
that
not
big
that.
on
I would
Dirk.
say
He's
I would
top
say I'm
five.
not that.
He's top five power forward though.
Yeah, we just can't. I mean, what's some other power forwards that you can
Kevin
size
Garnett,
up? Karl Malone. Like
Kevin
I like
Garnett,
Karl.
Karl Malone,
I'll
Charles
say I like Karl
Barkley.
Malone, but it's just like I think the power forward spot was way more valuable in the 80s and early 90s versus like now. Like I don't know. I think Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward of all time, but it's just like it's hard to get me on that top 10 list. Like I don't know. I could see him being on it but it's just all that what if. Like not everyone has Greg Popovich to be their coach all their whole career. Like I'm not trying to
Yep.
use that against him, but like it
I
definitely
can.
helps.
Yeah, I definitely understand. The system was very valuable to him. I was just saying, you take him out of the system, he's still gonna get a ring.
Yeah, he's gonna get a ring, but I don't
Yeah.
know about rings. Like I don't know about
Yeah,
five.
yeah. I don't know about rings with the S, but he's definitely gonna get a ring. Tim Duncan in his prime was a dog.
It's so weird how you're thinking like, what if Tim Duncan went to a different team and like how that would all play out, and if he would get more averages because like Manu Ginobili was a bucket.
Yep.
Tony Parker
Coming
did
off the
his own.
bench.
Tony Parker helped out. And
Yep.
it's like, what if Tim Duncan never had Greg Popovich? And we would really see like, is it all the Spurs system or is it actually? I mean, he had Kawhi Leonard on his late tail end of his career. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like it was a what if. It's all a what if. But moving on list to
6.
6, I got Oh, you're not gonna be happy with this one. I got the late Kobe Bryant.
Oh no, it's fine. It's
Oh,
fine.
I was gonna say I didn't know if you had him way higher on your list. I got the
Yeah,
late Kobe
I just got
Bryant.
him at 5. I just got him at 5.
I got to him the late Kobe Bryant. I think he's the second best Laker of all time. Laker, because I would say
Uh,
I don't confuse it with Shaq because Shaq was a couple different teams. So I even if I got Shaq as a better player, I got Kobe as the second best Laker.
who's the first
And
best Laker?
I mean Kobe Bryant. We grew up watching him. What's up?
Who's the first best Laker?
Who's the best?
Yeah, best Laker.
Magic.
Hmm,
Yeah, Magic. I got Magic as the best Laker, and then I
okay,
got Kobe right behind him. I was gonna say I just
it's arguable.
Kobe was a Kobe was a dog though, and I
Yeah.
wish everything's happening right now. It seemed like he was going to be for the better NBA when you're coming to getting women involved in the NBA and that movement and helping out kids and stuff. And it's just Kobe, although the numbers don't lie, 81-point game against Toronto.
It don't
Uh,
lie.
yeah, I mean that
Carbon
dude's
copy.
uh
Carbon
huh.
copy of MJ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The game is similar. I mean, the
Six
mentality
six.
is. I think he had the greatest mentality. Like that, when you see videos like that, it's just crazy how that dude would just go out. Like you got the famous Jay Williams story. He say he walked and he saw Kobe Bryant working out like game like moves for 2 hours before a game, and he's like, Kobe, why? What's the secret? Like, why you do it, man? And he's like, I saw you walk in the gym. He's like, I just wanted to let you know that like I'm gonna prepare harder than you, and I'm gonna go at you like harder than you'll ever go.
Hmm. Did you hear
And
the
it's like
Nick Young?
crazy, like the what's up?
Did you hear the Nick Young story?
The one in practice where he's like
Yeah, no,
where he
it's
came out, yeah,
it's after a game. He said, "Oh, y'all threw y'all Kobe's away. Y'all don't deserve to have Kobe's on."
yeah, yeah. I don't say any at practice, like the practice clips of him saying he's beating all of them up, and like he got in
Hmm.
Steve him and Steve Blake had their fights in practice, and
Yep.
it's just crazy how intense he was and how he wasn't afraid to go up against anyone. But
Hmm.
no, that his offense was crazy.
Definitely, definitely. I have him 5. I won't go into him at why he's number 5 for me because you already basically said why he's at 6. It's basically the same reasons. Carbon copy of MJ. Second greatest shooting guard of all time. What more can
Hmm.
I say, Mr. Bean? But my number 6 was Bill Russell. I'm not gonna say much about this. 11 rings. That's all I'm gonna say. 11 rings. You got to be top 10 if he has 11 rings. I'm not gonna say much about that.
Okay, I got at number 5. I
Uh,
got Kareem.
Ooh,
I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at 5.
5.
5, yeah.
I wonder who you have ahead of. Wow, wow,
I got yeah, I got
wow.
5 for Kareem. I think the sky hook was the most unstoppable move the NBA has seen and won't see. I was gonna say it was pretty tough to guard that. Again, playing in that era, playing with Magic, it probably helps out not the whole case because I mean back in his Milwaukee days he was still a dog, but playing with the big O, but it's just I think that Kareem just was unstoppable.
Yeah, definitely. I have him higher than my list, but I'm gonna go into my number 4 since we already talked about number 5 being Kobe. My number 4 is Magic. We got Magic Johnson at number 4. He basically revolutionized the point forward position for the NBA going forward. For guys like Luca and LeBron James. Him also. If he did not, sadly get the AIDS or HIV. I'm sorry
Mhm.
if I messed it up. HIV. Then I feel like he could have won a little bit more championships. But he was definitely a dog. Definitely, probably. He's my number 1 point guard of all time. But I have Magic at 4.
Yeah, I have Magic at 3. I have Shaq at 4. Uh,
Ooh.
I think Shaq is. I mean, we've talked about it when you said Shaq. I think he's unstoppable. I think that his rings with Kobe is so hard to judge because they're both such good players and both unstoppable that and it's hard that they had that beef and they were two youngsters who wanted all the credit and it's cool that Shaq went to LA to win those rings and like have those battles, but it also sucks because like you got obviously LA's LA, you got that crazy going down and then you got Kobe young, going through some stuff. You got Shaq, who's young and wanted an ego and had that personality. So would they have had way more rings if they stayed together? Probably, but
Hmm.
it's something like we would never know. I could see Shaq and Kobe both having around 6 rings if they stayed together.
Yeah, if they stay together, they'd probably be the greatest duo of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
They're top five duo. As
Oh
where
yeah,
they're at right now. But if they wanted if they even won one more ring together, I probably would have said they're in like top three. But they're definitely
yeah.
top
It's
five.
it's just hard to go up against like when you're talking about Magic and Kareem being a duo. You're talking about Scottie Pippen and Jordan being that duo. Like it's hard to be that. And Shaq really never got his own. I mean, he had his own team in Orlando with Penny, but when you're bouncing around like that, it's hard to say, oh, Shaq is the greatest player for blah 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 because like his years in Phoenix and all that weren't spent
Yeah.
in his prime. His prime was probably the Lakers and the or Magic and then Lakers.
Yeah, and the early parts of the Heat, early parts with the Heat,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or his early parts of the Heat helping D Wade get his own.
and then after that, it was just a slippery slope.
I actually went to a Cleveland Cavaliers game that Shaq played in.
Wow.
So I mean that was late in his career. That was like his last days. Not his last days, obviously, because he played for the Celtics. But it's crazy how many teams he was on going up to that point.
Yeah, I think probably after, yeah, he should have just retired. I think he was just trying to get that one more ring,
Yeah,
after he
he
hopped
joined
on
the
with the
Celtics that
Celtics. Yeah,
he joined the Celtics that 1 year.
yeah, just
Just trying to
trying to
get
get
that
that one more ring.
yeah.
Yeah, my number three, I got Kareem. You said it all before. He is what is it? He ranks number one in points of all time. That's a big
Mhm.
whoa to me. He
Yeah.
definitely played great basketball with the Showtime Lakers. Even though that it was lately in his career, he had a pretty long career that people really don't look at. He was playing.
Yeah,
Um,
longevity.
longevity
I
was
value
crazy.
longevity.
Even though his stats and stuff weren't good coming in like at the tail end of his career, he played for long years. And that,
Yeah.
like you said, the skyhook, unguardable. Probably, I think I saw a clip of Wilt blocking the skyhook. I think him and another guy were probably the only people who ever blocked the skyhook.
I was gonna say when you talk about longevity, it's not even that longevity. Like Shaq had longevity, but his
Yeah,
prime wasn't in that. Like Kareem was unstoppable throughout his longevity, and I think that's what some value. Like LeBron, LeBron's got longevity, but he's valuable in ever since LeBron took the league. His value has been there. When Shaq was at the tail end of his career, he wasn't really that. Versus Kareem, it seemed like Kareem was that guy, that
that
dude
guy.
for the whole career. Yeah, I got number three. I got Kareem's teammate Magic Johnson,
Hmm.
greatest point guard of all time, my greatest Laker of all time. My boy Jake Adams is one of like a big Kobe fan, and me and him, we talk it out. I'm like, I respect Kobe. I was like, but I think that Magic's the best Laker of all time. So I was gonna say, yeah, I think Magic is just the way he had to play in that heart of the NBA that we talk about. He had to take down. He played against Jordan's Bulls. He battled with Larry. He had to
Revolutionized the
play.
game.
He actually won finals against the bad boy Pistons. Isaiah Thomas rolled his ankle and
Yeah,
went on a crazy run. But they're saying that Magic took that ring from them. But I was gonna say I'm a big bad boy Pistons fan, so I was gonna say I like shouting them out. But Magic Johnson just played against the heart of what we think is the most tough NBA. You could still check guys. I mean, Magic Johnson punched Isaiah Thomas coming to the cup. So I mean, like it's just the way that he kind of revolutionized that point forward position. How he was a 6'8", what was he 6'8", 6'9"? He was
I think it
something
was yes, yeah, 6'8", 6'9", maybe
something like
6'10".
that. But he would dribble the ball like no other. I,
Yeah,
I love hearing my grandpa tell me stories about how good he was and like the way he passed and like no, the NBA hasn't seen a point guard like that up to then.
definitely not. What was I going to say about Magic? I think on his first ring, Kareem went down. Kareem was having a crazy finals. But he went down, and for I think it was like the last game to clinch the finals. Magic ended up playing at the center position, and I think he had a triple double or something like that. And he ended up taking the Finals MVP from Kareem, who was going to win it since he was having such a great finals. But it's just he could do any and everything.
I
He's
was saying it seemed
dribbling.
like Kareem and Magic didn't have those egos, like they didn't have that personality to where they wanted their recognition. Like they seemed like they were good co-partners, and how you
Yeah,
play with other people, I think that helps your case out.
that Showtime's Laker team was probably one of the
And then
greatest
you got James
dynasties.
Worthy coming in with them, like an AC Green, stop anyone. I was gonna say, yeah, it was crazy. My number two, I got 23 in red, Michael Jordan. I got Michael Jordan at number two.
Whoa! No! 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 I gotta end the pod right here.
I got Michael Jordan.
Wow!
It doesn't help that he also played with a top 15 player of all time in Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen was a beast. But I was gonna say I think it's not me showing disrespect to Jordan because I definitely respect his game. It's how high I think of LeBron and how I think that I do think Jordan was the best player up until around that 2000, around that last ring with the Heat. I thought like there was a chance the upcoming of LeBron in the GOAT talks was happening. And then I'm talking when you're taking Cleveland teams with bums in
With
that
J.R.
2000.
Smith on it.
I'm gonna say, well, you got like Timothy Mozgov, you got Matthew Dellavedova, you
Delvedova.
got. I mean, those were two guys who a lot of people haven't heard and are starters in an NBA Finals that he had to play against the Warriors. So, I mean, my number one is LeBron. I think LeBron's the GOAT. I would say if he wins another ring, it would probably help his case. But I think at the end of the day, he's going to be an all-time leader in points. He's going to be up there in assists. We got 4 rings right now. So, I mean, you can't discredit his finals record because of the teams that he's took to the finals. I mean, he took a team in Cleveland to the finals that got 4-0'd by the Spurs. And like the people on that
With
team,
Gibson. Josh Gibson.
yeah, I was gonna say Todd, you got the Jonas Ilgauskas, Anderson Varejao. You got guys who a lot of typical NBA fans never heard of, and he's taking those teams to the finals just to get beat. So I think that I would rather have a guy who goes to the finals, whether in Jordan in the late or in his early career, struggled getting out of the first round.
Yeah.
So
And it like you said, it all depends on like where you grew up or where you were born watching the game. Like you said, you grew up and you're in Ohio. You grew up watching
no,
LeBron
yeah,
James.
I'm an Ohio guy.
So
I
of
mean, I
course
went to
he
Cleveland to go to finals. I would say I went to Game 4 finals. The year that or the game that Draymond Green punched LeBron or LeBron stepped over him and he hit him. I was up in the third row, in the bowl in the top row or in the top area. And like it was crazy. One of the NBA Finals games, and like coming back and losing that game, they're all like, "Oh, no teams ever came back being down 3-1." And like it was just crazy in the atmosphere. But yeah, I grew up in right next to Cleveland, so I am a big LeBron fan.
yeah.
Have been my whole life. Will never stop. And it's just like, and I'm growing up in the era where he's playing his prime, and I've seen him play his prime. I mean, I sat in front of my TV when he made the decision to leave Cleveland, and it was one of the toughest. It was to that day. It was one of the toughest times of my life, but stuff has happened since. But yeah, I mean, just when you're talking about a 10-year-old kid gets his heart ripped out when he says that he doesn't want to be in Cleveland no
I'm gonna
more.
take
But
my talents to South Beach.
take my town South Beach. I was like, I was starstruck. I was like, my mouth was on the ground. I'm like, no way he's leaving.
Did you
But I'm
burn his
glad he went to
jersey?
Miami. It was a better opportunity for him. What'd you say?
Did you burn his jersey?
No, I did not burn his jersey. I kept his Cleveland jersey. I never got a Heat one, but I kept his Cleveland jersey. And I would say it was mad disrespectful to people that did for what he's done to the city. And I thank the Lord that he came back and gave the Cleveland a ring. I mean, I was so excited. But yeah, I would say some people think that Jordan is a GOAT, which obviously I'm not gonna knock it because
I
Jordan
think he's the
is.
goat.
I would say yeah. I would say you can go on with your case.
So, like you said, I grew up watching LeBron James. I've seen the ups and the downs, losing to JJ Barrera and the Mavs and Dirk. I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs. I've been a big what did they say? Big Bron lover. He's been my favorite player in the NBA. You know, he's like one of those guys that really got me to even watch basketball because before I was a big football guy. So I started watching LeBron James. You know, got me into the game. But he is not the goat. You know, he's not the goat. He's not the goat. He has 4 rings. You know, rings doesn't matter, but when it comes down, it does matter for me. You know, Jordan, you like you said, Jordan didn't win in the first round. He was getting kicked out by the Celtics, and he was getting kicked out by the Pistons, but he never lost. He never lost in the finals. That's the difference. Yes, yes, LeBron James did not have a great cast. Yes, but
No,
if
I'm
you
saying
put
like even if you lose, like okay, yeah,
yeah, even if you
Jordan only
lose, you
went to
still
the
make it
finals
to the
six
finals.
times. Jordan only went to the finals 6 times.
Yeah,
Like LeBron is taking every team he's been on to the finals. Like I'm just saying, like, and they didn't go to the finals until Scottie Pippen got drafted and started playing. I mean, like Scottie Pippen, I think helps LeBron out. LeBron's never played with a teammate even coming close to Scottie Pippen. You got Kyrie, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh and Anthony Davis. Those
yeah,
are
he got
LeBron's 4 best teammates. I would say Scottie Pippen is. I'm not putting him up there. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan are in 2 separate categories.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like, how good would LeBron? How many rings? How many finals does LeBron lose playing with a player like to the caliber of Scottie Pippen?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree that that Jordan did have Scotty. Jordan did have Scotty. Brown didn't have anybody. I definitely agree. I definitely agree. It all started where he was drafted at Cleveland, who did not put stars around him that inevitably made him want to leave Cleveland. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely understand that, but you know, it's not a bias thing because I'm a big, and it hurts me to say that LeBron's not the goat, but he's not the goat.
All right, so I got a question for you. What would LeBron have to do to be a GOAT in your case, in your eyes?
I think he doesn't even have to win 6 rings. He just has to win a ring. I think probably at least one more ring, and he has to beat maybe the scoring most points of all time, maybe.
And you would be
And
like, man, I was sitting there, Game 7, Golden State Warriors, Cavaliers, and like just in the middle of the game, I'm really like, I'm watching. And I was like, I'm blessed because I'm like, I'm sitting here watching the greatest player of all time right now. Like,
arguably, arguably,
I just don't. I mean, I'm from Ohio, but I just don't see
yeah.
it. Like, I wish we got to watch Jordan back then because he was busting up everyone. But I don't know, man. LeBron James is just inhuman. I mean, long. And you said value, longevity. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael Jordan retired or got. I mean, retired, then came back. Then he wasn't really on the tail end when he was with the Wizards. What was that year? Year what that he was with the Wizards? Year
it was. I think it
16.
might have been around
It was like
2001
2001.
till 2003, because that's when LeBron was drafted. 2003, LeBron was drafted. He retired when basically, I think the end of the season. I think.
Okay, so yeah, it was around year 15, 16. It was at the late. It was if I would say, but LeBron's taking teams to the finals in year what
But he,
16, 17. Won a
yeah,
ring last year,
yeah,
winning.
he's definitely doing stuff that we've never seen before. I totally agree with that. Totally agree. His longevity is crazy. I totally agree that his prime has been ever since he stepped on the foot or on the basketball court. I
Ever since
definitely
he
agree.
debuted in Sacramento. Ever
But
since he debuted in
he's
Sacramento.
not the
I just
greatest.
when we're talking about years that you were the best player in the league, I think that Jordan didn't have that until about 1988ish when he lost in the conference finals to the Pistons. He lost in the conference finals. It was when Scotty had that migraine game and
He took it personal.
yeah, and Sky had that migraine game, and they ended up losing that game and lose the series. I think that was the first year. So it was the first. It was a year before he won his first ring. I think that was the best. I think that was the first year that Jordan was the best player in the league. I think Magic Johnson was before it. And then and then Jordan comes up, this kid from Chicago. I think that LeBron ever since like 2006, 7 was the best player in the league. I
Yeah.
think that Kobe was that bridge in between them.
So you think he's consecutively been the greatest player
Yeah,
in the
like
league?
I think that's when we were talking about GOAT cases. I think how long have you been the best player in the league? And I think since 2007 or 8, LeBron's been the best player in the NBA set up to date.
Up to date?
Up to date, yeah.
So he wasn't great. He wasn't better than Stephen Curry in his 2016 season when he
LeBron
won
was a
the
better LeBron was
unanimous
a better player in that series.
unanimous
No.
MVP.
Okay, you might give me 1 year. 1 year he wasn't the No, LeBron was the best player still in the NBA that year. Would Stephen Curry have Stephen Curry had a good year, but I'm saying the MVP, LeBron should have way more MVPs, and I think that's something that
Yeah.
they don't, that would help his case a little bit more.
Definitely.
It's just,
He
and you got
definitely
Kevin
deserves
Durant.
more.
I would say Kevin Durant is going to take that either this year, next year, the year after.
Probably
But
next year.
I
Probably
would
next.
say I think this year. I mean, LeBron is still backpacking teams.
But
Like,
he can't be doing this at that age. He had 3 overtimes, and
yeah. Well, you see, Father Time catches up, but
yeah, Father Time's gonna catch up on him. It's gonna creep on him,
but
and
I
it's gonna
mean,
be bad.
he goes to Miami, which they even struggled the year before to get into the playoffs because D Wade was hurt a little bit. He goes to Miami with Chris Bosh, which I'm not saying that it was all LeBron, because I mean Chris Bosh is an all-star. He's very overlooked when we come to talking about great NBA power forwards because his prime and the blood clot. And NBA and D Wade and LeBron were different. But when you go to a team and take them to 4 straight finals when they struggle to get into the playoffs and win 2 of them, I mean you got the Spurs, which we talked about the Spurs, and then you got Jason Terry's.
JJ Barrera,
Yeah, I would say Jason Terry shot the lights out of the building that series, and
Dirk.
not a lot of people talk about that. But and then he goes to the Lakers. He gets injured for 35 games, misses the playoffs, then comes back and wins a ring. Like, it's just, he comes to Cleveland. Cleveland was at the worst they've ever been. Drafting Andrew Wiggins and Anthony Bennett with the first pick in the NBA draft, having your future fall apart, and then you just get Kevin Love to come to town, and then you win a ring. You take them to the finals.
Yeah, I can definitely see how you're a Cleveland boy. You really love your man LeBron James, but he's not the greatest player of all time. That's the beauty of top 10 lists. There's not a clear answer. You can debate it. You can have different opinions with different people. That's how the NBA community should be. You can't
Yeah.
slander other people for having different opinions.
No. If you respect someone's opinion, you should be able to tell yours and be respectful about it too. I was gonna say people get too hostile when it comes to debates like this.
Yeah, it's just the top 10. It's just my opinion. And then all like we've said throughout the whole top 10, all values where you were born and what do you value. Like
Oh
kids
yeah.
growing up now, probably kids that watch Stephen Curry, they're probably gonna have Stephen Curry, high on their list when they grow older. It was
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Curry, he was shooting those threes.
Yeah, or like we throw paper in the trash and yell Kobe. Like,
Yeah.
like Kobe's the best shot creator in my opinion. Kobe's the best shot creator, and we come about giving the ball to someone and go get in a bucket. Names like Kobe, because we've seen him do it to our teams. I was gonna say a Kobe LeBron finals is one that we got cheated out on in life that
Yeah,
we didn't get to see.
we definitely did. We definitely did. And I think it's all David Stern's fault.
Didn't get CP3 in town.
Yeah, definitely David Stern's fault. All right. Thank you to Brayden coming out for another podcast. I really appreciate it. Tell the people your socials again if they did not hear it.
I'll say follow Krebs Corner on Twitter at CREVS and then corner. I'll say my Twitter is bcrev the first, and then it's at bcreveling, CREVELING. We have follow my Krebs Corner. I would say my blog krebscorner.com. I'll say I write for them in the stadium, so follow that.
Thank you to Brayden for coming, and thank you for watching. Of course, I talk with Eric doing sports the 757 way. Thank you.